Florida Congressman Greg Steube back on the program. Steubes!
Good to see you.
Nice to see
Thanks
you,
for having
brother. Before we get into all this, can I just ask you, because I've been doing this since we got on the air Wednesday after the big victory, your first thoughts when you saw what the American people said definitively, not only in the Electoral College, but with the popular vote, and not only for Trump, but down ballot, your thoughts that night, or actually that morning, Wednesday at 3 a.m.?
Yeah, as you drive around my district and you talk to people, you feel like there was this huge heavy weight that has been lifted off American shoulders. Yeah. All of the economic woes, the inflation, the foreign issues, the wars going on. They all know that President Trump is going to deal with all of those things to the benefit of America first. And you could just feel the emotions and the heaviness that has been lifted off people all across America. And it's joy and adulation everywhere you go. Everybody's happy. And they know that we're going to go back to the directions that President Trump had in place before. Yep. They know that he and a Republican Senate and a Republican majority isn't going to be doing crazy stuff like allowing boys in women's sports and get our domestic energy production back, get our economy back in place, be strong again on the world stage, and bring our military back to the place where it should be to defend our nation.
Yeah, non-woke, and just be battle ready like when you and I were in years ago. So many things to get to with you. The announcement of the first woman ever chief of staff, yet I'm sure you recall what Mark Cuban said about Republicans, women, and Donald Trump. Yeah. If not, let's remind folks real quick. Go ahead. You got that, guys? Play it.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
It's just that simple, Greg, even though Susie's now chief of staff.
Yeah, what's crazy is the mainstream media is not even talking about how historic this is. The first female White House chief of staff to ever serve in the history of our country, and they're just brushing it under the rug. Susie Wiles is great. She's one of a kind. She will do an excellent job. She balances out Trump's personality very, very well. She's intelligent. She's thoughtful. She will do an excellent job. She obviously guided the campaign through all of the issues and the challenges that they face, and she will be an excellent White House chief of staff, and I look forward to working with her.
Greg, you know what's interesting is since everything went down early Wednesday morning, I've been watching, as I do, it's part of my research for the show, the other shows, right? The other lamestream media that I'm not part of anymore, thank God. And ever since the win, all they can talk about is the American voters, black, brown, white, yellow, purple, all of them are racist, they're misogynistic, they're sexist. They can't talk about the policy and the person, Kamala Harris, who she is, what she said, what she didn't say, and put any blame there. However, I do respect that Van Jones could admit that Democrats are idiots. Roll this clip.
We got beat because the Republicans and the conservatives built a different media system that had to do with online, had to do with podcasts, had to do with streaming platforms, and they were spending their money there. We were laughing at them and knocking on doors in Philadelphia and Detroit. It's like, there's no Trump people. They're not dropping literature. They're not knocking on doors.
In fact, it was laughing like, oh, Elon Musk and Charlie Kirk with their PACs don't know what they're doing.
We were making fun of Donald Trump for having thrown away his ground game and doing some weird stuff online. We thought that they were idiots. It turned out we were the idiots. We woke up in a body bag because while we were knocking on doors, they were making these phones into 24-hour-a-day political weapons for themselves. And so we got outflanked, outplayed, outbeat by people who told us the whole time that they knew what they were doing.
Your thoughts on that, Greg?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on that. I don't even know where to start with that clip.
Go ahead.
But the thing is we won because we win on the issues.
Yes.
We win because Americans agree with us on 90% of the issues, everything from energy policy to, not allowing boys and women's sports to foreign affairs to how we deal with the military to how we deal with the economy. That's the basic. And what's interesting in that statement is they own all of the mainstream media. Yep. ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. They all speak their liberal speaking to the American people. They've got all of the social media minus Twitter. Yep. And the money that they drop on these races, we are outspending all of our races
over $1 billion
nationally.
Over $1 billion she spent, and she's broke. She's $20 million in the hole, Greg. $20 million in the hole.
that they funneled to all of these races, some of which we are going to address in the new Congress, because Act Blue was actually violating federal law while they were doing it. They're basically money laundering money into campaigns. So they had way more money. They had way more assets because you have the mainstream media,
Yep.
you know, your big NBC, CBS, ABC
none of it
speaking
worked.
their language, and none of it worked because the American people are smarter than what the Democrats give them credit for.
Yep, you're damn right. Greg, what's a couple of the first things, I got about a minute left, that you'd like to see President Trump do immediately on day one? And what would you like to see your House and Senate, now that it'll be all red controlled, do immediately to help the American people? Go.
Well, immediately is the border. He has to rescind all of the executive orders. I think it's 57 executive orders that Joe Biden issued to open and create the wide open southern border that we have. That's day one. He can do that through executive order. But then the House and the Senate have to pass an immigration bill to fix all of these problems. So we can't have a Democratic president in the future to just be able to open up our southern border. That's issue number one. Issue number two, which there is a lot of issues. Issue number two is Israel standing behind our ally, reinstate sanctions on Iran. Iran was broke when Donald Trump left office, and Joe Biden let $6 billion go to the Iranian regime, which funds all of this terrorism across the world. Hamas, Hezbollah, all these different organizations get their funding from Iran. So that's something that the president can do through sanctions. There's a ton of things in the House. We have to get his tax and economy package through. His Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires at the end of 2025, and that should be one of the very first items that we address when we get back.
Going to be a lot to do come January. I cannot wait to report on all this and have you guys back on every other day as we continue to help fix America after the last 4 years.
Looking forward to making America great again.
Damn right. Congressman Greg Steube representing the 17th down there in the great state of Florida. As always, sir, thank you for your service. Thanks for coming on. Take care.